All right, there we go. So cutting estimating time with one tool. And let's kind of actually discuss why do you actually need to cut down your estimating time? What benefits does it bring? Why should a construction company actually take a look at it? For a couple of construction companies that I had discussions with, is some folks would say, well, look, others will create estimates in a bulk and then they would send out to the customers, but because it doesn't have that customization, it doesn't have that personal touch, some people may not like it that much because they would think um, they would think it just doesn't have the customization touch to it, right? And then customers would start actually ignoring it. I did a little bit of research, and apparently, the faster you create your estimates and the more accurate you can create your estimates, the higher will be your conversion rates, and the higher will be your win rates, the lower will be your costs. And let me actually kind of explain how that all connects to each other. So for our today's agenda, we're going to discuss why speed is important for estimating. We're going to learn how to gain speed while maintaining accuracy, and we're going to learn how to do it in Buildern. How Buildern helps in gaining that speed, momentum, and that accuracy in the estimate creation process. So, and like I said, at the very end, we're going to have a 50-minute for our questions and answers. So, why does speed matter? Well, first of all, when you are creating that bid request, sorry, when you're creating that quotes, that estimates, and you're sending them out to the customers fast, you are actually eliminating the time for them to shop around. The owner confidence and momentum is gained when you're creating those estimates fast, and fast estimates show professionalism and keep the decision energy high, so to say, right? So the clients are less likely to shop around, to ask around other companies on how much would be your cost, how much would be your estimates, and all the fun stuff. So the second one is the prices stay locked in. Um, you with faster estimate creations and with automated estimate creations, you would be able to lock in that supplier or subcontractor prices, and that would stay in your estimates. With the momentum, you would be way faster so that these prices do not expire. For example, in Australia, wood, steel, and labor, these these expenses, so to say, they would fluctuate to 5 to 7% in a yearly basis. And if you think about it, that is like the half of the GST. This is a lot of money that construction companies can be using just because of the fluctuation. Because timber gets expensive, steel gets expensive, labor gets expensive. So having a system where your prices are set, well, like you discussed with a subcontractor or a sub vendor, and you decided that for wood, we're going to pay you I don't know, $100 for a cubic meter. Now, once those prices are locked in your estimating tool, you will be way faster and way easier to create them and send it out to the customers and then actually mention those numbers. And the third one is with speed, you will start creating more quotes. And if we're thinking about it, if you're creating those quotes accurately, and if you're creating more of those quotes, sending out to more customer, your chances of getting more customers and more projects get significantly higher. Say if you're creating on a custom estimates, right? You're building those line by line, and you're spending like hours or days for each estimate. Now you would be able to create those same estimates way faster, send them out to different customers so that you can get way more revenue. Um, sorry, to add up to this, the fast growing technologies in AI will also supercharge this process because if you have your information somewhere stored, then AI would be able to take that and make it way faster, make it way more optimized. So it's a huge opportunity for uh, construction companies, for us to actually benefit from fast growing technologies. As long as you have your input, as long as you have your information accurate and set, the rest of the stuff, the software will start to do yourself. Without information, no software or hardware will be able to help you out in this process. So it just needs a little bit of information providing process, so to say. Um, okay, if you don't trust me on why speed is important and why you should actually get way faster with estimate creations, you can ask any clever AI. I tried ChatGPT on how to get faster without losing accuracy in construction industry. And basically, it shut up this three lines for me. It said, keep current vendor prices, lists, and typical production rates inside your estimating system so that, again, those prices are locked in and you are quoting those accurate prices every time you are sending a bit to a customer. Reuse structured data like cost codes, cost catalogs, assemblies, and groups for repeated scopes. And the third one is use templates for common project types with allowances and inclusions ready to go. That is kind of the same as the point B, which is reusing the structured data. And for today, I really want to focus on this second option, the B, on how we can reuse that structured data. So let me actually demonstrate it to you on how we can accomplish that using Builder. Let me stop sharing and get into my Builder account. There we are. So we talked about how we need to get fast and then how we need to be creating those estimates very fast, how they need to have the accurate pricing, how they need to go out to the customers without any hiccups and such and so forth, but how we can do that. Well, for creating an estimate, I think you all at this point know that there are a couple of ways on how you can do that, but my ultimate favorite one is the cost catalogs. Let me explain it to you how. So let's go to a project that I've created called Webinar. And basically, this would be the very first view that you end up when you got a potential client, right? This is the very first important page, so to say, that any AGC will end up when they are trying to acquire a new lead. And basically, from this point on, it is on you to decide how you are willing to go about it, right? Are you willing to create those estimates line by line? Are you want to bring them in from a Costco? It could be an import from other software. My favorite and my ultimate best one, I would say, is the cost catalogs. So to create an estimate with a cost catalog, let's first of all understand what a cost catalog is. So the way I would explain my customers what a cost catalog is, it's basically your menu. Like how do the restaurants have the menu and that people can order from it? This is exactly the same thing for you. Now imagine a restaurant where they don't have a menu, where the customers need to explain to the waiter what they want. They would go, oh, like I want potatoes, but I want them cut and I want them fried in this specific angle, and then I want them salted, but not too salted. That all of it could have been French fries. So that is exactly this, a menu where it gives you a recipe of all the services and all the materials that is required for your construction. Now, I know that one project that you're doing would be way different than the second project that you're doing. On the surface level, if you're looking at it, yes, it's a construction project. Yes, it's a bathroom or kitchen remodel, or it's a custom home, or it's a modular home, or whatnot. But they would be a little bit of different. Maybe the ground is different. Maybe this other one requires a little bit more earthworks. Maybe that other one, I don't know, requires a pond creation at the back end or whatnot. But the majority of your scope will still remain the same. So let's discover how we can actually do that faster and why creating a cost catalog actually does matter. Inside the cost catalog, and you would see a pre-saved and pre-created one that I have previously built, I have locked in my unit costs, which ultimately locked in my builder costs, my markup, my amount, and all the information. Now, these numbers are here to stay. And the next time when I summon these assemblies, the specific materials or services into an estimate, these numbers would come in. Now, if these numbers are accurate, meaning I'm actually quoting supplier or subcontractor prices, then I would know for a fact that this was the amount that was quoted to me. There is no way Builder can mess these numbers around. There is no way that Builder remembers these numbers incorrectly. It's a software. Now, something that humans are prone to is mistakes, is misremembering the numbers. If you're keeping your supplier prices on a piece of paper or in a different software, you are keen to misusing them. Maybe it was $95 or was it 90? Might not remember accurately. So keeping those costs and builder costs and unit costs inside the cost catalog is crucial. This is how we lock in those prices and make sure that they are accurate. And then let's go and discover a little bit what a cost catalog is. So how to create a cost catalog, you would click add new, you would name your cost catalog. Now you can create different cost catalogs for different types of projects. You can have one cost catalog for bathroom remodeling, another one for kitchen remodeling, or you can just have everything in one place. It's fully up to you. To keep it a little bit more cleaner and to avoid clutter, I would advise to create different cost catalogs. Buildern doesn't limit you on how many cost catalogs you can create, so why not just use the opportunity? And you would have something looking like this. Now, it would require a little bit of time and effort from your ends, to your customers, to create the cost catalog. Like I previously said, without information and without your input, we would not be able to, supercharge this process. We would not be able to streamline this. Now, if we don't know how much it costs you to do the stone facades, we won't be able to help you out in here, right? You would still be stuck on doing line by line. So a little bit of time is going to be required for your customers to create the cost catalogs, but the benefits that you get from it are immense. So let's actually start building a cost catalog. I promised a demo on how you can do this. So once you have your cost catalog from this add new category button, next up is add items. And in this add items, there are a lot of opportunities on what you can be building. My advice is go with assemblies. I am absolutely in love with assemblies because the amount of automations that you can put behind it is immense. So what is an assembly? We are kind of going a little bit deep now. There is a cost catalog. Inside of it, there is an assembly. And inside of the assembly will be your line items. Now, an example that I think I brought to a couple of you folks I can see in this webinar is think of this as the Russian doll matryoshka, the dolls that go inside the dolls. So your biggest doll would be the cost catalog. Your middle doll would be the assembly and then the smallest doll would be your line items that you are putting in here. So by doing that, you are creating that extra layer of uh, deepness, so to say, that extra layer of automation, so to say, because you would be able to create an assembly that can speak out to many, many projects. All right, let's call this one, just for the sake of this test, let's call this one standard bathroom tiling, right? I don't know. You want to put in the tiles on the bathroom wall, and there's basically a couple of stuff included in it. Now, if I start embarrassing myself by putting incorrect cost lines and, wrong information, like if I start quoting $1,000 for a labor that actually costs 100, please forgive me there. I'm learning the ropes as well. So let's call this standard bathroom floor tiling. My unit of measure, I'm gonna put meter square, right? What type of materials do I need for 1 meter square of bathroom tiling? Um, and let's start adding items. Now, I'm not a genius in this, but I know I need glue. So let's call it tile glue. Call in the cost code so that my budget tab looks accurate. And then comes the quantity, the assembly calculation, so to say. For one assembly, if I put in one assembly, what extra calculations do I need to put in there for this material? In easier words, it would be for 1 meter square, how many of these items do I need to put in? Now you can do the calculation in here, or you can put in the quantity later on. This is kind of like the quantity. So I would be needing, let's call it unit, extra 2 units for each meter square. Think 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 that makes sense. And then my unit cost would be again, if I'm embarrassing myself, tell me. It would be $10 for each pack of glue. I would put in a markup, and I know this is not a revenue webinar, but you should absolutely have markups on the items that you are about to put in an estimate. Almost everything needs to have a markup. If I have a favorite sub vendor, if I know that this person who, I mean, there is a specific shop where I'm getting my glue, it's Carl. Oh, Carl is here, actually. Hey, Carl. It's Carl, the best person in town to send me glue. I would put in that person's name in here because I would know that these prices are locked in by Carl. If the next time I call Carl and say, "Hey, Carl, remember we talked about the glues? Is it still $10?" Yeah, it's still $10 because I have already quoted it. Because the last time we spoke, he said $10 and I locked in into my cost catalog. The next time it changes, and I get on phone with Carl, and Carl says, "Look, the prices have changed. I don't need to remember it. I would just go into my cost catalog, go into an assembly, and then change the price, so that I am not prone to errors. I am not prone to mistakes and all the fun stuff." So let's save this item. Next up is well, actually the tiles. So tiles, Costco's would be uh shower tiles. Yeah, why not? So for each meter square, I would be needing one tiles, let's say. I'm gonna put in the unit type as meter square because I think we do measure tiles in meter square. Yeah, I'm just remodeling my house actually, so I'm getting into this personally, hands-on experience with this. My unit cost is like $50, I think. Yeah. Okay. My markup is 20%. And then I know there's this one guy who has the best tiles. That's John Smith. Best tiles. I would always want to buy those tiles from him. Now, this $50 with the tiles, this doesn't really make sense because it comes to a question of selection, what kind of tiles the customer wants to use. But I know it's going to be in a ballpark of this, right? It could be 40 or it could be 60. So my estimates that I'm creating will not be that out of the blue. Plus, this is a unknown world that we're kind of going into because prices do change, tile selections, all the fun stuff. Add item. Last thing that I need to do is create the labor for it. So I will be calling in a Tyler. You know what? Let's actually make this a subcontractor. Internal piling. Now this person works in an hour, or you know what, a day, and they quoted me this number for daily basis. Maybe too much, maybe too less. My markup, absolutely. And then my vendor, who is this person who's going to be the subcontractor? I know for a fact that it was Vahan, best tiler in the country. So there I have it. I have my assembly ready. It took me what, like 5 minutes, 6 minutes with explaining what I'm doing, and I have just created my tiling. So what happened was I just created this basic, I just created the standard for 1 meter square of the whole bathroom tiling stuff, right? Next time when I want to figure out how much it's going to cost me to tile a 20-meter square bathroom, I'm going to populate this assembly and put in the quantity. Let me actually bring this forward. There it is. Next time I want to figure out how much it's going to cost me to, um, sorry, got lost a little bit in here. I'm just going to put in this assembly and I'm going to change the quantity into 12, and Buildern is going to automatically calculate for me how much it's going to cost me to do the standard bathroom. Yeah, I have my tile glue, I have my tiles, and my tiler. So this process, creating the cost catalog with the assemblies, there is actually a lot more that you can go into. There are complex calculations that you can do with an assembly. For example, In this item, I can I can actually, get this number from a measurement if it's a standard measurement that I'm doing. Like if you don't want to put in for 1 meter square, you can actually put in for a specific takeoff measurements that you want to put in. This really comes in if you are on a modular construction side of Buildern, if you are building that same type of bathrooms, more or less those same type of bathrooms, or more or less same type of kitchens, you can actually put in a actual takeoff number in here so that these numbers can get more precise as you go. And with the help of calculator, you can, well, you know what, we can actually round this up and we can put other complex calculations into this. It's again fully up to you on how you want to use this. But basically repeat this same process for a little bit more time so that you can have your cost catalogs up and ready. Now, again, you can go item by item, or you can go assemblies. Like Chris said, assemblies are the best. So my advice is to go with the assemblies. But now that you have these, it's time to start creating your estimate. And I know we've booked a little bit more time, but it's just that fast to create an estimate with a cost catalog. So I will go into the project, go into a webinar and add item from cost catalog, select my lovely items. Again, I can go, you know what, I don't need this. I'm not going to be doing sewer. They don't have a pool. Yeah, site protection fence, I don't know. No, you know what, let's actually have this. Click save, and that's your estimate. So it was that easy and that fast. Instead of going line by line creating it, I have just populated a whole estimate out of thin air. I have my, oop, I have my Builder cost, I have my total, I have my markups. I don't have any allowances, but I can definitely create allowances in those cost catalogs as well. And we're not done yet. There is a lot of extra stuff that comes in with creating it from a cost catalog. So these assemblies that I just created, let's say standard bathroom. Now this item, I know that I'm going to be doing one bathroom, and it's going to be 17.3 meters square. This is 10% waste included, okay? I have calculated this. So now this assembly is 11,595. My builder cost is this much. I know it for a fact because inside the assembly, the rest of the items have calculated on their own. I don't need to go in there, manually calculate. For 1 meter square, I need 2 bags. So if it's 17.3, that is 17.3 times 2. I don't need to do that. Builder will automatically calculate that. This number, it should have been 34.6, but because we do not buy units on house, like if it's a 1 bag of glue, then it's 1 bag of glue. That's why I rounded out to 35. And yeah, numbers did calculate accurately, and they did so on their own. I just simply went in there and put in my measurement. Other way around that I can be doing this, if I want to be that super precise, I can go into the quantity, select from a measurement, actually measure the area of the work that I'm going to be doing it so that I know it was precisely 17.2 meters square. Okay. Again, takeoff tool comes in clutch. So while that's there, there are some more benefits to creating your estimates from a cost catalog. And the very obvious one is the prices. So estimates do fluctuate. You have said stone facading, it's gonna cost me $143. I don't think so. It's gonna cost way more. Okay, imagine it's gonna cost you $140, $130, but then the stone prices changed. Okay, the rebarring changed or whatnot. So instead of going into the estimate and then saying for this one time I'm gonna edit that material from being 22 to being the price change now, I'm gonna edit this to be 30 something. You need to be doing that from a cost catalog, and let me tell you why. So masonry, we're gonna edit the number for the masonry. Let's say it changed from 22 to 40. There's a shortage of folks who are doing masonry in where I live. So stone facades, masonry. Oh, by the way, double clicking on the item in the cost catalog will open up the edit tab. It changed from 40 to 20 to 40. Change the price. Okay, something changed. Now look what happens on my estimate tab. Buildern catch the price change and it's notifying me about it. It's telling me that the prices have changed. Now, depending on at which stage you are of the estimate creation, if you have already sent the proposal or not, at which stage you are at, you might choose to ignore this or you might choose to check for updates. If you have already sent the proposal to the customer and the customer approved it, it's a little bit too late to edit the prices and say, oh, look, the prices have changed. Something is different. The stone facading is now a different price. So at that point, if you already do have a contract with a customer, at that point it might be a little bit too late. But if you're still on the estimate creation side and the prices have changed, you're just going to click check updates, and Buildern is actually going to notify you what has changed. The old unit was 20, current unit cost is now 40, so the amount is changing is 20. Do you want the updates to be reflective on your current estimates? I mean, yeah, I do want to. So now my masonry is 44, that is 2%, sorry, that is 10% markup included. The price changed, everything is all dandy and all good. But in reality, we actually got two birds with one stone. I have updated my estimate and I have updated my cost catalog. In the cost catalog, the next time when I resummon this number, it's gonna have the accurate pricing. It's gonna have that accurate supplier cost, because I talked on the phone once with Carl, let's say. Carl said, look, it changed from 20 to 40, price fluctuations. It's a volatile market we're living in. I have put it that number once in a cost catalog and I will forget about it. Because the next time when I summon an estimate from a cost catalog, this number will appear as it is. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. There are a lot of more benefits into the cost catalog. Uh, it's kind of a customizable way of how you can reuse your data. It's just a pity to sit down and create an estimate for 2 or 3 hours and then just forget about it. Now, the next time when you want to create an estimate, you are doing everything again by hand, manually. It's just a pity to lose all of this information. The coolest part of having a cost catalog, and hear me when I'm telling you this, as Buildern evolves and as technologies evolve, we're going to introduce an AI to our software, which is going to benefit tremendously from the cost catalogs. Remember at the beginning of the webinar, I said you better start reusing your information and have it structured, because AI will supercharge this. This is exactly where you want to begin with. The information that you provide to Buildern will stay in your Buildern account, and AI will help to improve that. Imagine a world where you don't need to go in and say, at this item, at that item, at that item. Imagine a world where you can just be talking to a Buildern AI and say, create me an estimate for bathroom remodeling. And the AI, because the information is already inside Buildern, knows you are quoting a specific cost catalog. It just grabs that cost catalog, does the job for you, and creates the estimate. That'll be way faster. I'm talking like 5 minute, 2 minute to create an estimate. But for that to happen in our world, we just needed the information, right? How much is your masonry costing? Actually, we were just building the tilings. How much is your standard tile glue worth? I don't know, how's the subcontractor, the tiler, how much are they quoting? This information is required for the AI to, again, recreate this information for you. Okay, so that would be it for our, we're a little bit early. That would be it for our cost catalogs and estimate creation webinar. I hope you folks liked it. And I would like to hear what questions you have for me. I hope you do.
Van, how you going? It's Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Um, could you just touch on again the updating of cost catalogs and how that can roll out? Does it only affect estimates going forward, or does it retrospectively change?
It does not retrospectively change. Let me re-demonstrate it for you. So let's say the ballast rock. It's not 800 anymore. The price changed to 1,000. So in the custom estimates, if you just created this from a custom line item, that is this button, add new line item, ballast rock, you know the drill. If you go in and create an estimate line from this number will stay inside this one estimate. It would be a custom line item which stays inside this estimate. While if you populate it from a cost code, this number, where's my ballast rock? Okay, that item will be logged inside your cost catalog. So meaning this number will repopulate every time you bring this in. Now, when you edit a cost catalog item price, Buildern will catch it. And for the specific project that you're currently running in, and for the other ones as well, it's gonna pop you out this banner here. So let me show you. Buildern absolutely does not change any prices automatically whatsoever. That is a rule of thumb that we're going to stay true to it. We will not update any price without you actually going in and clicking update price button. So you can be assured there. But what I was telling you, what I was showing you is, let's say this number. It changed from 375 to 500. Because this item, what did I just edit? I think it was engineer site visit. Because this material, material, it's a labor. This item is quoted in my estimate. Builder will catch it, and Builder will tell me new price updates available for recent changes in cost catalogs. So for this specific estimate, and see it marks it in orange, telling me which item it's referring to. Specifically for this estimate, I can ignore it or I can check for updates, see what the price change is, update the selected items, which will change in my engineer site visit to 375 to 500. Now, the perk of this is that uh, you can have multiple estimates going, right? If we're talking about speed and if we're talking about creating multiple estimates and sending it to multiple potential contracts, again, for bigger win rates and to not let the client to shop around, it could be really hard to remember where did you change the price? Did you change it in this estimate? Did you change it on that estimate? Is this one already out or not? Now, all of that is fixed with the cost catalogs with Builder. You get a banner in here saying what items have price changed. You click check for updates, update the prices, or you can just click ignore if, again, if the estimate has already been out to the customer. Does that make
Oh,
sense,
so
Chris?
that banner will be for particular cost code changes. It doesn't do it for the whole estimate. So say you've got an estimate and there's 3
hmm
cost codes that change.
hmm
You can select which cost code you update.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Cost catalog. Let me demo it to you. Cost catalog, and let me change three prices. This one is 24. Uh, this one is, well, 8,000, 9,000, and this one actually should be a subcontract. I just updated three prices uh, to this one to ungodly number. Here's that banner again, and here's what it's telling me. First of all, I know it's this item. It's this item. Should be could be hidden somewhere in my assembly, that other item. But if I go check for updates, here's what it's telling me. All the price
Okay.
changes. I can go and say, don't update this number. Maybe not this one as well, or you know what, this one as well. Update selected prices. Prices changed. The item that you chose to change changed. Well, this one remains. So if you are absolutely married to the idea of not changing the demolition contractor price, it's like grew up in 8K almost. You can just click ignore, and the
Right.
banner will be gone, so that you're not bothered with it. Right,
Cool.
cool. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, that's good. I've got another question because
Yes,
I've
sir.
been working on this software for a while now. Cost catalogs can be built in reverse, it would appear, because they look very
Mm-hmm.
similar to estimates. So I can go into my estimate that I've spent months building, and I can go, okay, this actually looks like a good item for a cost catalog, and I can pull it out and convert it.
Yes, that's a great tip you gave me. So let's say you have this beautiful estimate. Well, mine are. You have this beautiful estimate, which you are just loving. It has everything set up so accurately. So now you can just bulk select it, create, or no, do look, create a new cost catalog. That was it. Cost catalog has been successfully saved.
Right.
So you have this beautiful estimate. You can backwards engineer it. These
And they
662 items.
are quite independent of each other.
Yep, they are independent. So there's one for webinar, and then there's one that I just created
Right.
out of an estimate. So these can live separately. Yeah, see all the assemblies, everything populated in here. So it's actually way faster to create from an estimate rather than doing it on your own. But then there are a lot of different ways on how you can create a cost catalog. The other fast way on how you can do it is the import button, Excel. Let's go with Excel. And as you can see, we do support cost catalog imports. So if you have an Excel sheet, or if you're coming in from a other software where you had something called similarly, some products I know call it a price book, uh, you would be able to import all of that information into your builder by this import button. It actually gives you a template. If I click continue, it gives you a template on how it should look like. You can open up that template. And as you can see, I hope you can see, this is the
Yep.
format that we support. It just needs a couple of tabs, like the name, the cost tab, the cost code, all the SKU numbers. This could be blank, the unit costs, the unit measure thing. So you repopulate all of this information. The URLs, these are absolutely optional. You can kind of work out your Excel template and then import it into Buildern as well.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there are other ways on how you can create a cost catalog, because we are trying to make this as user friendly as possible. So we are hiding all of this stuff inside the edit tabs here and there inside Builder. Um, any other questions you have for me, folks? Let me check the chat.
Yeah. So if you have multiple cost catalogs and then you have the same item in multiple cost catalogs, you don't
Mhm.
have one point of truth. Because when you
That's
update a cost catalog,
Mhm.
which one are you actually updating?
So you can have a master cost catalog. It could be all of your items. And
Yeah.
then the rest of the cost catalogs can be sub cost catalogs. See, like when you are creating a new category, it says parent. So this webinar could be called all items, and you are just dumping all of your items in here. So next time when a price change happens, you are updating that price in your master cost catalog. The rest of it will unfold on its own. Again, it's for if you are willing to create multiple cost catalogs, having a master one would fix that issue.
Yeah. So then your cost catalog essentially becomes the estimate.
Yeah, your cost catalog becomes your estimate, and you are just choosing
Yeah,
which items to bring in.
that's why you and I have difficulties in understanding each other, because my cost catalog is the truth of every single price point, and every assembly comes from that cost catalog,
Mhm.
and then the estimate is essentially separate from the cost catalog. It's an estimate that the estimate has every assembly in it. But
Mhm.
if you're telling me that you want us to create cost catalogs and that is the estimate for each job, that becomes problematic for me, because if I'm quoting 100 jobs a year, I've essentially got 100 cost catalogs.
Not really a cost catalog for each estimate, but like you said, putting the prices for your work, right? For all the items and materials that you ever require for doing the actual job. And so creating an estimate at this point becomes the middleman. You have your price list, you have every cost already locked in with the prices accurate and stuff. So creating an estimate is now reusable, so to say. You can use that cost catalog prices, you can use the cost catalog lines to create an estimate way faster. So it's not
Yeah,
an
but it's
estimate. You're
not.
not creating a cost catalog for each specific estimate per se, but you are using those already created items to create an
Yeah.
estimate.
So I'm doing that in the takeoff screen. And when I
Hmm.
do that in the takeoff screen, so a house can, I don't know, you can have 50 different types of windows, different sizes, but I don't know what size window I've got until the plan's drawn up or somebody gives me something to work off. And
Hmm.
my issue becomes, if I have those 50 odd windows in the takeoff screen, they also appear in the estimate as well, and you've got to go and manually delete them when there's a zero quantity. Otherwise, you
So
end up, so they don't have a dollar value against them, but you will have a list of 50 windows in the estimate, whether they're
um,
used or not. So that becomes, yeah, that's
for
where, like,
items, I totally get your point, but for items that you are just not sure of, like you said, you don't know how big the window is going to be, aka you don't know how much cladding you need, right?
yeah,
Because the window could be huge or it could be super small.
yeah,
So
yeah,
in those scenarios, these like I said, no estimate or no construction job is the same. You can put in allowances. But for stuff that you know for a 100% fact you're going to be using, it could be framing, it could be
yeah, yeah,
cementing the floor and stuff like this, you can put in the accurate numbers already. Or like inner walls, right? You did the takeoff tool. Through a takeoff tool, you would measure how long this wall is, and then you already have an assembly in your cost catalog for 1 meter square for the wall. Now you put that takeoff tool quantity, the number that you got from measuring that wall, into the quantity of that assembly in your estimate, and you have your total price of how much it's going to cost you to build that wall.
Yeah, but you can't take so if you put a door in that wall, you can't take the plaster out. You've got to do a separate calculation.
It becomes a little bit more calculated when a little bit more complicated when a couple more stuff come into the play, like a door or a window or whatnot. But
Yeah,
I'm sure there is a way on how to calculate that as well, like how tall the doors usually are. I think it's like 2 to 3 meters, and how wide the doors are. So you
yeah,
can kind of calculate that into an
yeah.
assembly.
But you can't do negative. Well, we've talked about it. You can't put a negative quantity into the assembly. So you can't delete plaster and you can't delete the baseboard or skirting
Yeah.
because
So
that would be a negative quantity.
Yep. For the negative quantities, this is cost catalogs advanced, so to say, at this point that we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
And there is actually a huge point of value that you're saying for the negative amounts and how you can play with the assemblies. I totally get your point, like having an assembly for a door and you minus this out from the wall and you
yeah,
get the number of, yeah, I totally get your point. But that is again something that we
yeah,
sharpen, so to say, and develop as we
yeah,
go. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool.
All right,
Um,
folks. Any
Hi,
any other
hi,
questions?
hi, Van. How are you?
Hey, Sid.
Hello.
Doing fine, thank
Uh,
you.
Thank you for this webinar today. First of all, the thing is, I'm using Buildern from a couple of months, and I'm finding it's very good tool for building estimators. The
Hmm.
thing is,
Hmm.
I'm having issue with maintaining my cost catalogs. So let's say I have 2,000 items in my cost catalogs, and I need to update the pricing. I need to get update regarding the pricing as well, right? So
Hmm.
let's say I'm utilizing a supplier A for such kind of, like, let's say for 5 materials for timbers, I'm utilizing supplier A. But now I want to utilize supplier B because the pricing for the supplier B is much better than the supplier A. So when I'm integrating the other supplier price list into my Buildern for the same material, I have two materials in my cost catalog.
Yep.
So how can I eliminate this thing? Is this something I should assign cost codes to it, but there is two cost codes for the same material? I'm having these issues.
Gotcha. So the cost catalogs items, now as you can take a look and see, mine are very vague, right?
Yes,
Like this one, it says engineer site visit. It has no vendor, no nothing. Or you can find, I think you can find a cost item called timber. It's
yes.
as vague as it gets. Tiles glue. So if you are changing the suppliers for those, you can go in, select this person, this guy, masonry as well. Go to bulk edit, and you can change the sub vendor for that if you have changed the supplier, or you can
Um,
go in and change the cap. Uh-huh.
no, sorry. So let's say I'm getting pricing from Bunnings. They give me Excel sheets. Let's say for an example, okay, the Excel sheet contains 1,000 items. It includes nails, timber, uh, cement sheets, floor sheeting, everything for construction building materials, right?
Okay.
From some of those pricing, let's say for 200 item pricing, I want to select the other supplier because their pricing is much better for that. I want to buy
Oh,
timber from supplier B, but I'm getting a price list from supplier A, and both lists are in Excel format, right?
so
So is there any way I can import new pricing list and the existing one will automatically be deleted from that list? So it won't cluster up with so much of list of
mhm,
items.
mhm. So to solve that issue generally, we are currently working on creating an integrations with the sub. There goes my camera. Sorry there.
Yeah,
That
so
was weird. We are we would be working on creating integrations with our suppliers so that you don't have to cross compare Excel sheets and your builder and cost catalogs to see which items match,
Exactly.
whatnot.
Yeah.
But my advice to you would be pick whatever prices are good for you, right? Because you would get two different supplier lists. One says 20 for timber, other says 40. So
Yeah.
if you are willing to go with the supplier A, go into that, put the items to 20, and then say, look, I want my sub vendor for this items to be Chris Brown because you chose that supplier. So the next time, sorry, when you are creating an estimate, your suppliers, your sub vendors will come in populated. So when you create a purchase order for them, Buildern will already know who is the sub or the vendor for this, and your bid will automatically go to that person whose prices you are quoting. There is actually a little bit of automation put under this, but to generally fix that issue, yes, we would be
Yeah, just
needing.
to maintain the cost catalog irrespective of the project we are working on, just to maintain our pricing list. So we exactly know how much price we are getting from the suppliers, and we have a choice of utilizing any supplier pricing list into our
Yep,
built-in cost catalog.
yep,
Because currently, like I'm dealing with 2,000, 2,500 items, right? And I am
hmm
getting new quotes every day. Some of the pricing are really good, some of are very expensive. Now I have to go
So
and do those things manually, right? So instead of
yeah,
manually changing item price for 500 items, is there any way I can directly uh, change the item, but
integrate
they're
that.
yeah, integrate that, but their names are different.
Yeah. So I mean that also is the part of kind of running the business, right? You are calling in different vendors, different suppliers, and trying to figure out who's going to give you the best price and who's going to give you the best I don't know
Yeah,
quality. You're picking that one person, you're adding them as a sub vendor, and I don't know, you are moving with that person for your upcoming estimates until that person's price just doesn't make sense anymore. You found a better one.
But
But
okay.
yeah,
essentially,
I
what we need is to have one item,
mhm,
let that be attached to multiple suppliers. And you need to be able to do that, and that SKU code becomes critically important because the SKU code for a piece of timber from Bunnings is different to the SKU code that comes from, say, Mitre 10.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you want to update your pricing, so yeah, it's easy to update the pricing because if you do it in an Excel sheet, you just need to have a common something that Excel can look up and cross over to the external spreadsheet. So that SKU code is critically important because if you
hmm
change the SKU code, I've found that when I update a price list, it is literally a 3-second thing to do. It doesn't matter what format the supplier gives me the price list in, that
hmm
SKU code is important. For us, when we're estimating, that SKU code needs to play more of a part in Buildern's estimating so that we can use it.
hmm
But we must have the ability to have 2 or 3 or unlimited suppliers essentially linked to one item. So then when
hmm
we're doing an estimate, we create a purchase order and then we select the supplier on the purchase order.
Yep,
Builder
that makes
needs to
sense.
go back in and go, all right, supplier Bunnings, its prices is this. If we change it to Mitre 10, then it'll go, oh, you've changed to Mitre 10. Mitre 10's pricing is this. Because
That's it.
one of the other things we do when we're doing an estimate that makes our life easy to help protect us from weird price increases and so on is you would generally create a supplier that's just called, say, timber supplier. And
hmm
that price will be maybe 1 or 2% dearer than your normal suppliers. And when you do your estimate, you need to be able to go use the most expensive price from the supplier. So then it'll go, all right, timber, 70 by 35 timber, the dearest price I've got is $7 a meter, and it will just use that. And if we happen to go, all right, awesome, Bunnings is actually $3 a meter, great. When we raise a purchase order, it goes back in, does its thing, our budgets look good, and everyone's happy. Does that all make sense to you?
It
Yeah.
totally does make sense. And I love it that our engineering team is on this webinar as well. So they are listening to what you folks are saying. This is ultimately what we're going to be building, by the way.
Yeah. I think I sent you
The list, yeah.
and
Yeah.
it kind of explains that, because it's like Sid has the same issue that I've got, and it's
Yep.
a big problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
We hear it. We hear you folks loud and clear.
Because doing
Other
the
than that-
estimation is pretty much easy on Buildern. Everything is easy except maintaining our cost catalog.
Yeah.
If we don't have
maintain-
correct cost catalog, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
Exactly.
biggest
Yeah.
issue.
And then once you guys do your setting up of the cost catalog, I think I went on to say that if you're doing your selections, you need to be able to replace things. So when the SKU code becomes important, that's a fixed point of reference that you guys can use in your programming to go, okay, this dude wants to change this to this. Because it gives a set base for the computer program to use.
Yep. Yeah. That again makes sense. There's still a way that we need to go with cost catalogs and with Buildern in general, with pricings. There's so much stuff that we still need to be doing and creating. And honestly, thank you for the input. Like, really, whatever you provide the expertise, we create the software.
Look, I would say that for the most part, it does some really awesome stuff. It's just a couple of things like that that's a major part of our estimating, that we just sit there and go, man, this sucks, just to raise a purchase order. But
Yeah.
everything else is really quick.
Well, we try.
Yeah, well,
Well,
you can't get
okay.
after it, but you'll
Well-
get there. You're pretty responsive, and that's good.
Yeah, we'll get better. Pinky
Awesome.
promise. All right, folks.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time and energy. Thank you for the folks who have actively participated. Like, it won't be fun if you folks don't talk and don't participate. Stay tuned for more. There is actually going to be more webinars. It's something that we have been piloting out, and I don't know. I think it went semi-well.
I think it went well. It was really good.
No, I think
All
it was
right,
good fun. I think it was good. I would like you to
thank you.
follow up and let us know where you're at with importing cost codes from vendors. I think Anthony and Sid touched on a really crucial part. So you know what I'm like. I'm like a dog with a bone. I don't let you get away with making promises, and you always fulfill your promises, I must say. I'm really impressed with everything you guys have done, but I think that's a really important one. So I look forward to hearing more about the cost codes and direct import into Buildern.
Yes. Stay tuned. It's one day, very soon. I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for your time.
All right, folks. You too.
Yeah.
I'll see you soon. Bye now.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.